Tonight, keeping them honest on another example of how fake news or lies can do real harm. On Monday, we reported on an arrest of a man who allegedly opened fire in a pizza parlor that's been the target of an online conspiracy theory spread in fake news stories. Now, a Florida woman has been charged with making death threats against the father of a child killed in the Sandy Hook massacre in Newtown, Connecticut. 6-year-old Noah Posner was one of 20 first graders who were gunned down inside their school. 6 adults were also killed. Next week is the 4-year anniversary of the massacre. The woman who allegedly threatened Noah's father, and this is really sick stuff, believes that the shooting was a hoax orchestrated by the government and media to drum up support for gun control. They believe it never happened. As outrageous as that sounds, this woman is not alone. We reported on other Sandy Hook hoaxers, including former Florida Atlantic University professor James Tracy, who shortly after the shooting said this. Now, when a local reporter caught up with Tracy and asked him about this outrage his theories might trigger, here's what he said. Listen.
You had 20 families that were mourning, that buried children. Are you concerned about that at all?
Well, I think that the entire country mourned about Sandy Hook. And yet, once again, the investigation that journalistic institutions should have actually carried out never took place, as far as I'm concerned. I think that we need to, as a society, look at things more carefully. Perhaps we, as a society, have been conditioned to be duped.
We asked Tracy repeatedly to come on our show. He refused our invitations. His university fired him this year for failing to submit paperwork on his outside activities, including his blogging about conspiracy theories concerning mass shootings. Now, the lies a lot of these people spread are frankly sickening. Some individuals have harassed grieving Sandy Hook families. They've even claimed an interview I did in Newtown in the days after the shooting with Noah Posner's mom was faked. Take a look. This is the interview. They claim it was actually done in front of a green screen in a studio, and as proof, they say my nose disappears briefly from the shot at one point. For the record, that's what we call in TV land a hit, when there's interference with the satellite signal and the image is interrupted in a completely random way. Why they think I wouldn't have driven up to Connecticut to cover this from New York City seems odd, given that I've traveled all around the world to report on stories. Just to put this to bed, let me be clear. Their claim is insane. I was there. I talked to the families. I was invited into their homes in some cases. I saw grieving families' pain. They were not crisis actors. They were real parents suffering unimaginable loss. It doesn't even need to be said like that. Recently, I talked by phone to Len Posner, Noah's dad. He didn't want his face to be shown or his location named. He understandably wants to avoid more harassment. I know you can't give many details about the case since it's obviously ongoing. Is there anything you can say about it, what some of the nature of the threats were, or at least how often does this kind of thing happen?
Well, the voicemails that were left by this individual, they're available online, so that they can be heard, and they're pretty intense. I know that when I got the notification on my phone, I was with my kids, and the voicemail started to autoplay, and I very quickly had to turn off the phone because the kids would have, were starting to overhear what was being said. And I still remember just the chills that ran down my body hearing that particular voicemail. So it's really, it's over the top.
I think, for most Americans, they probably don't have much idea of the kind of vitriol that's out there by a very small number of people, but are directed toward not only you, but other parents of kids who were killed at Sandy Hook, anybody who reported on Sandy Hook. There are all these people who, frankly, don't believe that Sandy Hook happened.
Well, a lot of people say that it's a small number that think this way, but my experience tells me that it's not a small number of people. It's a small number of people that are as vocal about it. A lot of people just keep it to themselves. It's an expression of there's just hate. It's online hate, and it's kind of like I describe it as a thought virus, because this hoax concept just continues to spread. So with every mass casualty event, or with every public incident, it's immediately labeled a hoax by this certain circle of people that are on the web, and there are a lot of forces that drive them. I mean, they have their YouTube channels could be monetized, their blogs could be monetized. I know that with the mass casualty event in Orlando at the Pulse nightclub, there were there was hoax content coming out while the shooting was still going on.
You created an organization, a foundation, to try to counter this, to try to get these lies, taken off the web, to try to just inform people about what they call themselves truthers. You call them hoaxers.
Right. I don't consider them truthers. When someone says truthers, that really makes me think 9/11, because that's really the term. And as far as Sandy Hook, we've been calling them hoaxers since pretty much the beginning, because they, first of all, they don't think anything bad ever happens. They don't think anyone ever gets hurt. So they think that whenever they see something on the web or on television that is a crime or mass casualty event, it has to be a hoax. And then if there is debunking evidence that comes out that shows that they made mistakes, like researchers, like normal researchers, they won't correct their mistakes, and oftentimes they start to fabricate their evidence or fudge their evidence or Photoshop their evidence. So really they're contributing to the hoax by falsifying the information that they're propagating. So they're hoaxers by calling everything a hoax, and then everything that they do after the fact is sort of distributing false information to people.
I know other parents who have been harassed online, who have been harassed in person. This is not just happening to you and your family.
This happens to anyone really online. It's sort of like cyberbullying, but not within the context of school kids. It's in the context of anyone, and it's basically just hate. They're projecting hate onto people, and if someone is visible, if someone is a victim of of crime, it's easy to find people these days on the web, so it's easy to gain access to someone.
Mm. Well, Len Pusner, I'm so sorry for what you're going through and have been going through. Thank you for talking to us. Thank you very much for having me. Well, Len has formed a group called Honor, raising awareness about hoaxers who target families of high-profile tragedies. You can learn more at honr.com. That's honr.com. Up next.